Hey guys, Standing Simmer here today, and welcome back to the channel for another speed build here in The Sims 4. So guys, I just want to let you know that in case you did happen to see the title of this video and that's why you clicked on the video, or you're just watching the video because you tend to watch my videos in general, know that of course I will be getting to the nature of the video as kind of tease is kind of the wrong word to use there, but the nature of the video as advertised, I guess, in the title. But if you happen to have come across this video because you're just like binging your watch later playlist and it's just kind of auto playing, know that there is some important information I'm going to be passing along to you guys here pretty soon. But I kind of wanted to start off this speed build like I tend to try to start off my speed builds, which is with an introduction to the reason I wanted to build the house, some stats about the build, and just some things in general that you guys can expect to see throughout the video as far as the speed build goes. Just know, by the way, that my heart is like actually pounding. My heart rate has definitely increased compared to what it typically does when I record build voiceovers in general. I remember back when I first started my channel and I was like recording voiceovers of any type, whether it be for gameplay or voiceovers for a build like this. I remember being so nervous as soon as I walked up to the mic and knew that the recording had started, just because I didn't exactly know how I would fill the time and how to speak to you and how to do so effectively and communicate what I wanted to communicate. I feel like I've gotten better about that over the course of, the last year that I've been doing YouTube, which again, we'll get to here in just a little bit. But for this particular voiceover, just in general, I'm starting off like quite a bit more nervous than I have for a lot of others. And again, we'll be getting to the reasons why there too here in just a little bit. But the reason that I decided to build this build in particular and share it with you guys today is that I, of course, have a member of a current household who's needing a new home. And as has been, pretty standard here recently for me, that's been the main gist of my build inspiration is I have a family that, needs a new house, and I know the personality of those sims, and I know what I'm looking for. I understand the aesthetic that I'm hoping to achieve for that sim, and so it kind of really sets me off in a good way. Like it just sets me up for success as far as ideas go. Now, whether I execute it the way I intend to is another thing entirely. This house though, I love the way that it turned out. It is a really cool old converted barn type style, very artist's aesthetic. The sim who lives here, as you probably will very much guess, as we get later on in the video and you see like the activity and skill building items type thing that I tend to put in here, very much a painter, very artistic. There's also a photography studio out like on the corner of the farm area. It's in a building that I imagine would have been something like a shed or like a chicken coop or something like that if this had been a barn back in the day before someone actually took it over and intended to make it into more of like a residential living space. But I turned it into this really cool like film development dark room type thing. I'm really proud of, by the way. I like the way that it turned out because I've never done anything like that quite before in The Sims, and so that's kind of what you can expect to see as far as skill building stuff goes. All in all, this house has for sure one bathroom. It's like debatable as to whether there would be 2 bedrooms or not. There's for sure like a set bedroom area in the downstairs of the home. The upstairs is pretty open. You go up the stairs and there's no other wall that's blocking off any portion of the upstairs space. It's all just kind of one long rectangular portion of flooring, and that's where I have a lot of the skill building stuff right now. There's also like a washer dryer and a sitting area next to the fireplace, but that could technically be a second bedroom as well. It wouldn't be super private because it's not really very closed off, but it could be kind of like a loft type bedroom area. So you could fit like a kid's bedroom up there, or multiple single beds in there for kids too. So 2 bedrooms pretty much what this house ends up being, and it is a single bathroom as well. So lots of living area downstairs in the space that is down in the lower part. I've got the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room all shoved together in one somewhat small room. I mean, it really is kind of tiny just all around. Another thing is that for just before this build actually, I finally caved and downloaded that OMSP shelf that I have seen a couple of other YouTubers using quite a bit here in the last couple of months, so I'm a little bit late to the train. My biggest hesitation in using it, by the way guys, if you don't know what it is, here in a little bit you'll start to see me pulling out this red shelf, and I use it to like place items and then drag them over to corresponding surfaces elsewhere. That is the OMSP shelf. I'll try to remember to link it in the description in case you guys haven't seen it yet. The basic idea is that it helps you, again, clutter surfaces that aren't really easily clutterable. You know how like if you raise things up with the 9 key on your keyboard, they can kind of not quite raise to the appropriate level. Sometimes you're left with gaps and things like that. This shelf kind of helps combat that. You really just kind of do away with that problem altogether. And while I was hesitant at first in having a technical piece of custom content for build buy in my game. It's really not the biggest deal in the whole wide world. It's only in my build save. I might put it in my gameplay save just to kind of help me out when it comes to like decorating more specifically my family's homes. As long as it isn't in the home when I upload it to the gallery, it totally doesn't have CC. So it's just like a regular old build, kind of like any other that I would do, only I'm a little bit better in cluttering up certain surfaces, which is kind of nice. So yeah, in case you see that kind of pulled around here and there later on, that is what that is. So guys, on to the meat of the video, the biggest thing. Legitimately, my heart is like practically racing right now. I feel like I'm so nervous to just really communicate this because I've been thinking about this for so long that I really just want to do it well. I think that that's probably my biggest fear right now, is getting into this part of the conversation and not expressing myself the way that I want to express myself. I've attempted over the course of the last several weeks to do so to like my husband and to friends, and I feel like I get, you know, pretty close when I'm speaking to another person, but when I'm just recording myself here in my office, in my house, you know, in the afternoon on a Thursday, cars are going by on the road outside, I feel like there's a really good possibility I might not express myself the way that I would want to. So forgive me if I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, or if it's just like I'm just kind of going around in circles kind of a thing with my speech. I really want to communicate this well, and I'm hoping to do so. I have some notes here and everything, but guys, the long and short of it is that I am not going to be doing YouTube anymore. So not exactly this day, the day that this video is going up on the 23rd of March, but in 2 days time on the 25th is exactly 1 year since I uploaded my first ever video on YouTube. Now, a year ago today, however, the day that this is going up, was when I actually created my channel. So I created my channel, spent a good long time figuring out how to use things like editing programs for video software, how to set up my microphone and how to record the audio and how to place the video and the audio together, how to, you know, make a thumbnail, all this kind of stuff. I spent 2 days like of a whole weekend. It was literally a Saturday and a Sunday, I believe. It was like a Saturday Sunday kind of mix, trying to figure out how to upload my first ever video. And so it went live on the 25th. That's when I officially started my channel, was a year ago. The whole intention that I had going into YouTube was I was going to try it and see what happened. I've spoken about this before. It actually came up here pretty recently in the Q&A video that I did for like as a thank you for hitting 1,000 subscribers here on the channel. But I started YouTube initially. I've never really like spoken about it between, like, aside from that one situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and mention it again to give you guys some context here. I started YouTube initially because the job that I was working at the time, I still work in that same field. I perform the same function. I'm just working in a different capacity now. But the job that I had at the time really only allowed me to work PRN, which means as needed. And so when you work PRN, in a lot of cases, you kind of just wait around for the phone call. If somebody gets sick or goes on vacation, or if you have a load that's greater than like what your company was expecting that week, that's when they call in the PRN people. So that was me. So there were some weeks I worked a lot, and then there were other weeks I worked very little at all. In fact, there was a whole like 4 week period, I think, there for a while that I did not work a single day, just because of just some other situations that were going on in the company that I worked for. That's the life of PRN, especially in the field that I work in specifically. And as you might kind of gather, that tends to lead to a lot of boredom. And in my case, I had worked really hard to get a degree and to get licensed in a field, and then wasn't working nearly as much as I would like. I like to stay busy. I like going to work. I like, you know, making money isn't bad either, to be honest with you, but I was really struggling with self-doubt and just really wrestling with the fact that I wasn't working in the capacity that I wanted to be working. At the same time too, I felt a lot of boredom, like I mentioned earlier, and boredom isn't good for me. I like to stay busy regardless. Even on the weekends when I'm supposed to be resting, I'm working on all kinds of projects. I'm always trying to keep my hands busy. And so that was difficult for a lot of reasons, and that being one of them. So one of my biggest instigations that kind of pushed me toward making YouTube, other than the fact that I thought it would be fun, was just to stinking have something to do. I really just wanted a project, and YouTube provided a really good outlet for creativity. It allowed me to really just jump in to the next level of this game that I love so much. And that was my spurring on to creating a YouTube channel and starting to make content. And so at the time I was uploading something ridiculous, like once I really got the hang of it, something like 4 to 5 videos a week. And it was a lot, guys. To this day, I still don't understand how I managed to crank out that many videos a week, because that's just a lot of content, and it's hard to do content well when you're doing that much content, in my opinion at least. And so when I slowly began to pick up hours at work, I went from PRN status, or as needed, to part-time, so a guaranteed number of hours a week. And then from part-time, about 6 months later, I was offered a full-time position at another company with benefits, and it's like full-time plus. So I work like 45 hours a week on any given week is my typical schedule. I also drive about 35-40 minutes one way to get to my job as it is right now. And so a lot of time in my week now goes into, you know, not only traveling, but also performing my job. So just that alone, I'm in a very different place now than when I was when I started YouTube. And again, YouTube started off as kind of an experiment. I always kind of determined, as I do with a lot of things, that I'll kind of reassess at the end of, you know, different periods out from when I begin a project. And in YouTube's case, a year is a pretty good place to say, okay, I know I'm gonna take a step back in a year unless anything happens between now and then, and I'm gonna see if this is still something that I wanna do. And so about 6 weeks ago, I really began to, you know, think about the fact that, you know, that year anniversary was coming up, which again is this weekend technically represents pretty much that year anniversary for me. And I came to the conclusion that there was the biggest part of me that just didn't want to do YouTube anymore. There are a couple of reasons for that. I'm hoping to get into that in this video and to do so well, again, without taking too much rambling time. But the biggest parts of me not wanting to do YouTube anymore really come down to a couple of factors, again, that I hope to kind of dissect here with you guys today, just to let you know what's going on. One of those factors, as I kind of just hinted at a second ago, is that the time investment that I have to put into YouTube is so drastically different now compared to what it was when I very first started. I don't really have the time at all to, one video a week here recently, guys, has been kind of a struggle. And so in kind of thinking about this and contemplating this, trying to figure out like how I'm gonna make things work, I went down to just 1 video a week just to see if that was still going to be manageable. And don't get me wrong, you know, I can do a video a week, like I can do it. But what it then comes down to after that is that I don't really want to anymore. And it's kind of hard for me to just admit that to you guys, because it has nothing to do with you as the amazing people who in the community who watch my videos and interact with me. And don't get me wrong, I have made so many incredible friends in this community since I began YouTube. Since I became a creator, I feel like that opens up a whole new world of the Sims community to you. It's like you unlock this new door and you just get to walk through this door. Now, I'm not saying that it's an exclusive club as much as some people in the creator space tend to want to communicate that it's exclusive, and that like some people in that space are better than others, but you know, that's kind of a story for a different day. But I do know that I really have not regretted the relationships that have come out of YouTube, the ones I still plan to maintain. The other big factor for making me not want to do YouTube anymore is that there is a, oh gosh guys, it's so hard for me to really like put this in particular into words, but ever since I've become a creator, I mentioned a second ago that it's like you unlock this new level of interaction in the community. It's like you get to see a different side of things because you know what things look like on the back end, like from the creator standpoint on YouTube, and you know what it's like to want your videos to get good views and you want people to interact in the comments. And that first time that you get a dislike on the video is like heartbreaking, but it doesn't really matter in the long run. And we're all striving for 1,000 subscribers and then 10,000 subscribers and then 100,000 subscribers, you know, because every new milestone is just that much more exciting, specifically when it comes to 1,000 subscribers and getting your watch time hours in, because that means that YouTube will monetize your videos. There are all these factors that go into making numbers such a big driving force in the community, which makes sense, right? Because YouTube itself kind of forces you to put that in the front of your mind, because numbers are what set each milestone. Those are the things you aim for, are those numbers. But there's such a large part of me that I feel so jaded now with being in the Sims community on the creator side of things, because I feel like I see this self-promo. I'm just finding difficult to even really like put this into words exactly, but what it comes down to is that interacting with other creators in the community, and this is not like a 100% across the board blanket statement. There are definitely exceptions to this, but I feel like that this is a little bit more of the rule, unfortunately, that interacting with other people in the community, that people will try, they will reach out to you, they will comment on your videos, they will try to like develop that version of a relationship with you, but the goal is so that they can push themselves to the top. I'll comment on your video, you can comment on mine, and you know, trying to get the attention of larger creators with the hope that it'll result in collaborations that will then give you more subscribers and or for a shout out, if nothing else. There's a lot of, you know, hey, I sub to you, you sub back to me. And it's just this kind of, I feel like it's like the broken wheel of a system where people are really only focused on the numbers. And I've seen this really prevalent in people who are really tiny creators as well as people who are really large creators. And every time it feels like I go on Twitter, I walk away so, it's either like disheartened or disgusted and discouraged about the way that people are interacting and the real motives behind it. So I'm probably gonna stop talking about it at this point because I don't want to sound like I'm this bitter person. I am very happy with the goals that I've achieved on YouTube so far. I kind of only hoped, never really expected that I would achieve monetization on YouTube before I hit a year, but just barely, but before I hit a year on the channel. And I have made amazing friends in this community. That is not something I can lie about. That is for sure the case. Just as the broader sense, I find it really, really hard to be a creator in this community because numbers have really never been my focus. I've always come at this from the perspective that I have a career that I love and that YouTube is kind of always going to be this side hobby for me. And that for that reason, that kind of takes numbers out of the focus, because even if I am excited every time I hit a new milestone, and especially at things like 1,000, I mention the number specifically because it's kind of a big deal, 1,000 specifically. I've really not made this the focus, the number specifically the focus, and I feel like I walk away from the creator side of the community with a bad taste in my mouth the vast majority of the time. I'm obviously not mentioning any names. That would be dumb, that would be really harsh, and that's not what I'm here to do today. But what I am saying, guys, is that I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that that was a part of what makes me not want to be a creator anymore. And so that, coupled with the fact that I have so much other stuff going on that I want to do and focus on in my life, and that I don't really see YouTube being a part of that in the future. And again, the fact that reevaluation coming at that year mark is something that's kind of making these thoughts come full force. It's really bringing them to the surface. Those are the reasons that I'm not going to be making YouTube videos anymore. The time investment, the feeling, the way that I do about being in the creator community and watching this, again, kind of like the backside of things going on all the time, and feeling like not a whole lot of other people are very genuine about being creators in this community. Those things, pretty much the reasons that I really don't want to do this anymore. Now, that being said, I am not transitioning into being a full-time streamer. I am not going to be doing I'm not really going to be taking this time from YouTube and channeling it into something else for the sim, like being a creator. I'm not going to be going on Twitch full-time. I'm not going to be going on Tumblr full-time, because that's silly, because you really don't make money from Tumblr. But these are still things I'm going to be keeping up. I am still planning on streaming. You know, I'm an affiliate on Twitch, which is really cool. Mainly means I can like get subscriptions over there, and more specifically hang out with you guys in a live setting and use the cool emotes and all that kind of stuff, which I really love the way that works over there. So do know if you are even remotely interested in keeping up with me in the future, I want to tell you guys a couple of ways that you can continue keeping up with me, and that way we can still kind of hang out together, even if it's not over here on this platform. Now, I understand that a lot of you probably either maybe you don't care and you're like, okay, well, nice knowing you, fantastic, you know, have a good life, same to you, that's great. Some of you are not interested in the other platforms I'm going to mention, and I'm sorry about that specifically, because I know I'm kind of shutting off your options there. So Twitter is a good place. I'm still going to be on Twitter. The channel's not going to go anywhere. Like, I'm not going to delete the channel. All my videos are still going to be up, so I'm just not going to be active anymore. Twitter is a good place to kind of hang out with me if you want to, as in I'm going to be tweeting stuff about Twitch and when I'm gonna go live, and just random things that I find in my game, and polls from time to time. and just things like that. My DMs are also open over there if you ever want to chat. There you go. Twitter, link in the description. Twitch, already mentioned, but I'm going to be streaming on Twitch. Right now, my goal is streaming 2 times a week, which I'm sometimes able to maintain really well for longer stretches of time. Other times, not so much, because other like life situations type things and get in the way. But that's my goal, is like twice a week on Twitch. I stream on Thursday nights and on Sunday afternoons right now. I might add in another day at some point. I don't know. I mean, it just kind of depends. I'm going to kind of let this whole YouTube time exiting my life thing sink in before I make another time commitment, you know, if that makes sense to you guys. That is an option if you want to continue seeing things like my gameplay and building specifically. That's kind of where I'm going to be doing that stuff now, because I do that over there now currently and I really enjoy it, and you guys seem to enjoy it too. So if you would like to go over to Twitch and give me a follow, that is free. You can watch Twitch on a web browser or on a mobile app. There is a mobile app for it as well. And if you like the idea of interacting with myself and other creators in a live manner, then that is a really good place to do that. So again, link in the description if you would want to, you know, check that out or anything like that. Now, I do upload content on Tumblr, and content specifically gameplay. It's like a Assembler. I've mentioned it before. From when I first started Assembler, which was, you know, standingsimmer at tumblr.com or standingsimmer.tumblr.com. Just messed up my own URL there. I started Assembler over there like last October, and I moved from that Assembler to another one of a different name in this January. But the thing is, I'm really not talking about it in my more public forums like this, because I don't want just empty follows, people just going over there just to give me a follow, because numbers really matter so little on Tumblr. I mean, having better numbers increases your exposure, but that's just kind of the case anywhere, you know? So I'm not really talking about my gameplay Tumblr because I want my community over there to grow pretty naturally, but I have posted about it on Twitter before, and if you're just really interested in seeing my Tumblr gameplay, like shoot me a DM or something over on Twitter and I'll let you know what the link is. It's not like a secret, but like I said, I've intentionally kept it back from YouTube and Twitch to an extent, because I really want, again, that community to grow naturally. I want to be more involved with like other people who do Tumblr, compared to just, again, empty follows. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover, and I know I'm gonna end this voiceover and I'm gonna be like, man, Mariah, you wanted to say this, you've been thinking about this for 6 weeks, but you didn't say it in this voiceover. Anyways, guys, I do want to say that I really appreciate you guys. And I know that sounds so cheesy and such a line, but it's not. You guys, the community here, you amazing people who occasionally comment on my videos or always comment on my videos, and who leave a like, or who just watch these videos in general and have followed me to other platforms, and who I now know some of you by name and consider you like more than just mere acquaintances. I appreciate you guys a lot, because you guys are legitimately the ones who've made this the experience that it's been, which has been a very pleasant one for the most part. And so I just want to say thank you for that. Again, know that I'm not going to just be quitting The Sims or creating in general. I'm just going to be, for right now, on YouTube. I know I said for right now, as in like trying to leave it open for me to come back in the future. I don't know what the future holds. I'm not going to say I never will make YouTube videos again, because I don't really think I can make that call right now, but I definitely know that right now my resolution is to not. So we'll see how that pans out. But regardless, guys, I do think I'd probably better start rounding off the video before I ramble on too long. So I do want to say thank you again so much for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking with me for all the speed builds and the gameplay and the cast videos and the random videos and just everything and all the growth that this has represented to me in the past year. And again, for all the people that I've met along the way. So I hope you're having the best of days, and I will see you very soon. Bye!